With over 75% of viewers unsubscribed, be sure to hit that button as I try and push for 50,000 subscribers this year. When examining the success enjoyed by airlines within the Middle East across recent decades, airlines such as Emirates come to mind, but it shouldn't just be limited to them. And seeing the success they've enjoyed, wouldn't be hard to then imagine that there are other airlines around the world that may have a similar ambition, basically to leverage their geographical positioning to make a hub and use it to their advantage to grow over time and become an industry leader. A popular airline to feed traffic onwards to endpoints in several markets may then also be able to translate this to increase tourism, foster economic growth, and much more. Airlines around the world have time and time again attempted to replicate the success of Emirates but have failed. However, one of the newest airlines to emerge wanting to undertake something similar has been that of Turkish Airlines. I don't want you to get the impression that Turkish Airlines is a new airline. They're a storied company, but their ambition of becoming, say, like an Emirates is fresh. The ambition is clear, but what is this ambition I speak of, and is it truly realistic? Well, generally by the time Turkish Airlines celebrates its 100th birthday, it wants to have cemented itself even further as one of the leading airlines in the world. In its own right, Turkish Airlines is pretty big now, but it wants to be even larger. Turkish Airlines plans to have over 800 aircraft across the group by 2033. This would represent a very simple doubling of its current portfolio. The only thing simple there is maths, but when we actually get to a point in understanding how Turkish Airlines will take on all these planes, the makeup and such, it becomes more complicated. The airline really did achieve its first step in a pathway to this though, when it announced in 2023 an order with Airbus that consisted of hundreds of jets. These aircraft to be delivered over a multi-year period. Now, reports are indicating that the manufacturer is in talks with Boeing, who will lead the second part of this order, including potentially further commitments for aircraft such as the 787, 737 MAX, and maybe even the 777X. With so many aircraft slated to be present in the future, the airline is also looking to beef up its operations, with some pretty hefty growth on the cards across its route network. The ambition would be to have up to or over 400 destinations across its network. The airline has slowly but surely spread its wings into new markets across the last couple of years, especially as it's looked to rebuild from the global pandemic. What it's tried to do is find that perfect balance. Return destinations that had gone missing across the 2020 to 2022 period, while also using available aircraft to enter new markets that have been enjoying some pretty large amounts of growth. And with more new aircraft, it will be able to flex its muscles more so. Indeed, one market that has been hot on the airline's horizon for some time, and one that I certainly like to cover being here myself, is Australia. Earlier this year, it launched into Melbourne, which represented a very critical moment for the company. The airline will soon launch flights to Sydney and hopefully move both flights to these cities to daily eventually as well. Of course, I focus on Australia as it is one of the more recent examples and pretty close to home for me, but the logic for service commencement can also be used into other markets. It saw Australia as a key location and wanted to be a new player. With a large demographic as well from the airline's home country located here, the airline will bring customers through Asia, and soon when the aircraft capabilities are available, it'll do so non-stop. And if you're not heading to just Turkey, you'll also have the ability to connect onwards across many of Turkish Airlines' existing flights. Sounds pretty similar to some of the airlines I brought up at the beginning of the video that have been so successful in achieving this mission already. Other goals for the company include an overall 7% growth rate annually, with basically the doubling of its passenger capacity by 2033. Again, ambitious, but factoring in the doubling of its fleet that I've been touching on and the increases we'll see in routes that it'll serve, with no doubt probably a hefty upgauging of services to existing locations, this should theoretically be possible. To go with this, the company wants to see revenues reach USD 50 billion annually annually too. The focus on growth will continue with the desire to basically employ more people. With a workforce of roughly 75,000 people, Turkish wants to have this more like 150,000 to make all this happen. Yes, 150,000. So if you're someone that's 15, maybe you're 45, and you want to jump into the aviation industry and are thinking of moving to Turkey, or maybe adopt a job somewhere else but still working in the aviation world, Turkish Airlines might just be your best bet. Alongside the workforce, the airline wants to rank among the top 3 airlines globally in offering the best digital experience. This is an area that I don't talk about too much, but it is incredibly important. When speaking with several analysts close to many airlines, sometimes for these companies, some of their biggest positives are the aircraft that they fly, the cabin, their crew, and so much more. But where they fail is inside the airport. The goal for so many airlines is to have an experience from the moment you enter the airport to the moment you leave it, one that is memorable, easy, and smooth. So, are the investments going to be worth it? This is the multi-billion-dollar question, and for Turkish Airlines, well, the 2033 plan is pretty ambitious, but the company has existed now for over 90 years, and it isn't short of experience. It has weathered the many ups and downs that we've seen in our industry, most recently a global pandemic. We're now seeing the breakout of global conflict and supply chain difficulties. And thanks to the opening of a new airport in Istanbul, the country's continued growth alongside people from Turkey in key markets means that Turkish Airlines feels it is perfectly poised to achieve all the goals it has outlined. Are there risks to plans such as these? Absolutely. An ambitious plan will never not come with risks. However, the airline thinks it has the right leadership team at the helm, the finances to make this possible, and excellent relationships with key suppliers. Will it be possible to achieve this plan on the timeline it has provided? That is a question that one simply cannot entirely predict because of how volatile the aviation industry can be. Your perfect example is the global pandemic, but nowadays just take a look at some of the aircraft we are excited to see debut. It could be the A321XLR, or it could be on a much larger scale, the 777X. These are all aircraft that had a timeline for their certification and entry into service. More than once, it was pushed back. So it could be a 2038 plan, but at least for the moment, Turkish Airlines sees in the next 10 years all of this as achievable. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on the company. Can it truly double its fleet? Will it face any negative repercussions? And do you believe it will still be able to have its finances in order? Let me know down below in the comments. Like I said, thanks a lot for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. It would certainly mean a lot. Take care, do be safe. Stay tuned in the next couple of days as I bring you some more aviation analysis. And we'll fly.